I'm going to try it. Cindy was my teacher not just 1 year, but 2 years. So I'm going to follow her lead and see if I can do this little part without the microphone. If you were paying attention during the slideshow, one of the pictures that you saw was of Mom as a flower girl at her Aunt Marge's wedding. And Aunt Marge was my grandmother Muriel's youngest sister, the youngest of 5 girls, and really the kind of last of a generation. She lives in Washington. She couldn't be here today, but she did, I guess, the next best thing, or maybe the next to the next best thing. She sent her son David up with her remarks. So present Aunt Marge.
Thank you, Jeremy. Before I read my mom's remarks, I just want to say something really briefly. So Barbara's my oldest female cousin. I'm the youngest male cousin. So there was a pretty significant age gap between us. And by the time I was really aware of anything, she was already out of college, and then pretty quickly after that she married Alan. And I don't remember her as anything but really married and having these wonderful boys who first boys I really tried to have any kind of influence on because I just had a younger sister. And over the years we got a lot closer. I'd make a lot of road trips up to Connecticut. And Barbara took on this family project from our mom's cousin Alan, who's now in his 90s. She became the family matriarch, basically. She put out, arranged a reunion, a couple of reunions, and the most recent one was in 2019. And then she bequeathed to me this kind of honor, I guess. And so now I'm the official newsletter person. So with Alan's permission, I put the news on Facebook on our family pages. So I guess I'm now the new Barbara in a way. So anyway, as Jer said, and you saw in the picture, my mom had Barbara as her flower girl when Barbara was 5. And then my younger sister was flower girl at Barbara and Alan's wedding, so it kind of all came together. Anyway, here's what my mom wanted me to read. This one I need the glasses for. I speak as Barbara's remaining aunt and as her lifelong friend. Perhaps the age difference is the reason our relationship crossed 2 categories, since I was nearly 14 when she was born. Her birth was the first time I watched the stages in development from baby to adult. She was always beautiful. I must take note here that when my daughter Dana was the flower girl for Barbara, as Barbara was my flower girl, it was a great cross-generational experience. After Barbara had children, though separated geographically, we remained close. I remember driving with 3 lively boys to Washington for a visit, so much later that I was able to have good visits from those little ones on their own. When I came up from Connecticut from Washington, we always had one important stop to make, the cemetery where our family was buried in Fairfield, Connecticut. Barbara was the driver, and we usually got lost, which probably takes after Barbara's father, if anybody remembers Uncle Dave. Well, but we always found it in the end. When my husband was ill and eventually died, Barbara was on the phone with me regularly, suggesting various miracle drugs for him to try. She never stopped doing that, which was characteristic of her tenacity. Perhaps because I was her last surviving aunt, our relationship grew stronger as we grew older. Although I could not be her mother, I could provide support from my experience. We talked until she couldn't. Everything from dogs to books and family relationships to world affairs and education. We always had good conversations. There's a large hole in my life now. I miss Barbara, but there's also an enduring memory in my heart. Thanks.